here from YCG, your casual gamer. In this episode, we're going to learn how to make a loading screen together. Using the streaming levels, we're going to make two different ways. One is by doing it manually inside the persistent level, since this is the first thing happening in your level. And the second way is to have your own level, having your loading screen program inside that you can just then drag into each area of your level and they're going to work. And this is basically what it looks like when it works. You're going to have your loading screen on the screen, and then it's going to smoothly transition when ready to load your level. So stay tuned. Alright, so first thing we're going to make is I have a little folder over here for UMG. I'm working in 4-23 for this one, just to be able to show you guys more recent engine content. I don't know if 4-17 would have let me do this as well. So right click over here, we're going to make a new user interface widget, call it loading screen. There you go, save all, and add it. So you have to understand that most of the time when you make a loading screen, it's very fake. It's just to allow you to load stuff behind. And I'm always trying to keep it as smooth as possible, so we're going to make a smooth transition between the two. So all we need in here is a border, drag it in the canvas, make sure to cover the whole area of your canvas. I always make sure to do that, and you could anchor it to the whole thing and stretch it, and it should work too. We're going to put the brush to black. That's it. From here, we're going to add a text box. Put it inside. Oh, that's not what I wanted to put. Text, just text. There you got it. Text block. That's what I meant. We're going to align it to the center, to the middle. Change the font to 48. Call it loading. And from here, we're going to go get the throbber over here. What's nice with the throbber is that it is already animated by default. And what you could set in here is you could decide it to go animated from horizontal, vertical, and you could play with the opacity. Right now the three are happening, and you can set how many heads you want it to be. This could also be an image of your choice if ever you had a special image you'd like to put there. It's good to know. I mean, I use it just to give a feedback to the player, but that's the only animated. To make a fully animated loading screen takes a bit more time. Right now we're into the basics on how to make it and how to apply it with level streaming. So you're pretty much done with your level with this over here. We're going to set up the anchor for the drop point, throbber to middle, and that's it. Now when we're going to be calling it is we're going to call it off. So to be able to unload it, we're going to make a nice little animation and call it loading out. And you could put a little underscore over here. And to make the animation, make sure you're selected on it. Then you can select your border, go for the brush color and the color content color. We're going to put at 0.75. We're going to add a node over here, make it to 0, and do the same thing with the opacity of the text. And right there, everything should go away, except for the throbber that you have to do separately. I forgot to do that. So from the 0, click the throbber. And here for the throbber, it's a little bit different. There's a render opacity. You can just add a key over here, go to 1 or 0.75 for us. Add another key. Again, these can all be made manually over here, but I find it always goes faster to use the sidebar over here to add your keyframe for your animation. But you could add them manually over here with a plus track and everything, but it takes more time. So for the last one over here, we're going to set it to 0. Now if I go back to here, so really we're just calling it out so to keep it smooth on play. So now we need to call it inside here. So the best way for me to do that is I delete all this and we right click and make a custom event, call it loading screen out. And from here, loading screen out, play animation, set it inside here. Number of loop only once. Now you know we have to put a delay. And the animation, if you look in the designer tab, it was around 0.75 seconds. So I can put the exact number, or just to be safe, I'm going to put 1 second. And reboot. remove from parent. Remove from parent, basically what it does is that it removes it completely. So it's not to be found anymore. So it removes the level widget. So save all, and you're done with your program for your loading screen. That's simple. Now we're going to apply them to the scene. And like I was saying, this right now here is a level with 216 actors in it. This is nothing. In real game time, when you're going to make your levels and games, it's probably going to be 5 times, if not more assets that are being loaded at the same time. Events, blueprints, characters, call it what you want, but everything is being loaded at the same time. So you can imagine that it could be staggering your game. Because right now, if I try to load this, it will load instantly, and it's because the level is pretty much empty. But nevertheless, we're going to use this level as an example. I have a level over here. So how I would proceed is I would go over to the maps and add a new level, call it a master scene, just for the fun of it. Doesn't have to be caps locks, like this, and load it. So just for the purpose of the example, this is what we'll do. From here, we're going to add the first person example map right in here. And there you have it. So now to complete the first method of how you're going to load your scene, we're going to go inside the persistent level, and we're going to make our program over here. So you're going to create widget, go get your loading screen, add it to viewport, and now initially the level is not loaded yet. This what you can see on screen is not loaded yet because you're in level streaming. So persistent level is the only thing that's being loaded right now. So to load it, we're gonna get the name. So copy this, make sure, because it's case sensitive. Inside the persistent level, we're gonna do a load streaming volume, stream level. Control V in here, make visible unload, very important. When completed, we're gonna make a reroute over here and call the loading screen out. So that way you know that only when the level is loaded that you can remove the loading screen. Now, like I said, the level is very small right now, so it's gonna happen almost instantly. But if you want just to make sure to see the loading screen happen, that we saw it actually, so you can already know that there was a little something to load. Normally, I add a delay just to make sure you can see how smooth the transition is between the two of them. So compile and save, and that could be any of your level. I press play, the loading's there, and you're going to see that it fades into the scene very smoothly. So now you're done with the basic first way to make a loading screen. Now, if you want to up your game and do something a little bit more that you can reuse all the time, because right now the downfall of this is that I have to redo this program every time I make a new level, and it could become tedious. Maybe you have a big level and you're loading continuously, and you don't want to have the loading screen all the time, and you have to do them all manually. So how can you remedy to that? And that's where the game instance comes into play. So we're going to make a game instance. Now again, if you don't know what a game instance is, blueprint class, game instance. This isn't a tutorial about this, but I can tell you basically what it does is my game instance, we're going to call it. It keeps tab on everything that's happening in your game at all time. As long as it's loaded, as long as the application of the game is running, the game instance is working. Rather, I've explained it in another episode. I'm going to leave it in the link below how it works actually, the game instance. But basically what it does is that if you load a new level, normally all the information are being deleted and reloaded in another level. The game instance can keep tab on what's happening between those two transitions. So now right here, we're going to add a name variable over here. And the reason we're adding a name variable is you're going to know in a second why not. Why is that? We want to know which level is being loaded. Level loaded. No. Level being loaded. Being loaded, being called, same thing. And the reason we're using a name variable is if I go back in the persistent level, the way we did a program now, I copied the name in here. And yes, I had to do all the little work that you saw over here, and it doesn't take too much time, but why would I do it if I can just do it once and it works all the time? And that's what we're going to be recreating. So now we're going to do the next way. So I'm going to control this, all this, I'm going to control C, delete it, and we're going to do the other method of doing the loading screen that is very much practiced in the game. And again, the reason we put it inside the persistence level is because nothing else is loaded. You're not going to have much in the persistent level. Normally you want to keep this as light as possible. So now right here I'm going to make a new level, call it a loading screen. And now it takes a little bit more time to make this, but once it's going to be done, it's going to be, you can just drag it inside every persistent level you have, and you don't have to do anything from there. You just have to set the variable we just created in our game instance, and after that the rest is going to be automatically done. And that's what we want. We want to make the programs as smart as possible. So for us, we can make more games. So now, loading screen, I added to the level over here. Now let's make the maths. So from here, I'm going to control V. I have everything that we just did over here in the event begin play. Compile and save. Now this is all going to happen the same way. The only difference now is that we want this over here to be a variable that we're going to be modifying elsewhere. And again, since now in the master scene, you're still going to have to call the loading screen. So from here, you're going to do a load stream level master scene. So this is the first thing that's going to be loaded. You're going to have this here, and this time we want the loading screen. So you F2, Control C this over here inside there, and compile this. So now it's going to call the program inside the loading screen. And if you wanted to, right now, we could try it out, see if it works still. So if I press play, actually it should work. This is there, calls the first person example map, and the map works. So now you're almost done with all this. Now we have the game instance. So I created it. Now we have to add it to our project setting. So in maps and modes, you go scroll all the way down to game instance class, make it my game instance. This is important or else it won't work when you call it in your game. Inside the persistent level, inside the persistent level, we're going to set the level we want to load. So from here, we're going to do a cast to my game instance. Get game instance, because we want it to be aware of. This could have happened in another thing, and another level. It could have been I'm on my main screen and I decide to start the game and I already know which level is being loaded. So I could have set level to be load. I could set this right away to what I wanted it to be. In our case, the level that we're going to be loading is this one over here. So I'm going to Control C this. In the master over here, I'm going to Control V this. And now here, instead of having this, just to make the program fail-proof, you're going to add cast to my game instance, get game instance, and from here, get level being loaded to the level that we just set. So by creating this, what's nice is that this is done already. I had to do a little bit more code, but this is always going to work now. I just have to do these three little blocks over here. So somewhere I have to set the value which level is being loaded. Then I load the loading screen, and the loading screen is going to take care of everything else. So every time I make a new level, I can just have this happen. So I can just drag the loading screen in, and as long as I set which level is being loaded first, I'm done. I don't have to redo any of the tedious work that previously would always have to be redone. And that's what my practice is all about, is how to save time. So now we go, and voila. Everything works as a charm. So I hope you enjoyed this. Like always, leave a like and subscribe if you like what you see. And the next episode, we're going to be completing our level over here. What's missing over here, visually, of course. And then we're going to jump into the season finale of Season 3, Deathscyp Factory, to see how we can finish everything up. So see you next time, and have a good day.